She was 8 months pregnant when she found the affair messages on her husband's phone. Most women would have cried, screamed, or fallen apart. But Brooke Taylor wasn't most women. The next morning, she walked into his office, slid divorce papers across his desk without a word, and by sunset, she was boarding a billionaire's private jet to California, leaving her cheating husband to drown in his regrets, while she flew toward the future she actually deserved. The breaking point. Brooke Taylor stood in the walk-in closet of her Highland Park home, one hand resting on her swollen belly, the other clutching Jake's phone like evidence at a crime scene. The messages glowed accusingly in the dim light, months of text between her husband and Lindsay Morrison, his 26-year-old co-worker. "Can't wait to see you tonight, baby." The words blurred as tears threatened, but Brooke blinked them back with practiced control. 8 months pregnant, 8 years married, 8 minutes to decide what kind of woman she would be in this moment. She thought of the nursery she'd designed downstairs, painted in soft sage green with hand-stenciled clouds. She thought of Jake's promises, whispered in the dark, his hand on her stomach feeling their daughter kick. All of it, lies built on a foundation of convenience and cowardice. Brooke carefully placed the phone back exactly where she'd found it, her interior designer's eye for detail serving her even now. She walked to her office, moving with the deliberate grace that had always been her signature, and opened her laptop. The private investigator's report arrived within hours. Photographs, dates, hotel receipts. Jake had been careful, but not careful enough. That night, Jake came home late, smelling of cologne she hadn't bought him. "Sorry, babe. Client dinner ran long," he said, kissing her forehead with practiced ease. "Of course," Brooke replied, her voice steady as still water. "I saved you a plate." She watched him eat, watched him scroll through his phone, watched him living his double life without a tremor of guilt crossing his handsome, familiar face. The Jake Carter she'd loved since junior prom no longer existed, if he ever had. The next morning, while Jake showered, Brooke made a call. "Logan?" Her voice was quiet but certain. "I need to ask you something important. That standing invitation you mentioned in Aspen last winter, does it still stand?" There was a pause, then Logan Pierce's careful, measured response. "Always, Brooke. Whatever you need." She exhaled slowly. "I might need everything." The reckoning Monday morning arrived with deceptive normalcy. Dallas sunshine streamed through the windows of Carter and Associates Marketing, where Jake sat reviewing campaign pitches, confident in his carefully constructed world. His secretary buzzed. "Mr. Carter, your wife is here to see you." Jake frowned. Brooke never came to his office unannounced. "Send her in." The door opened, and there she was, 8 months pregnant in a tailored navy dress that somehow made her look both vulnerable and untouchable. Her auburn hair was pulled back, her makeup flawless, her green eyes unreadable. She carried a manila envelope and nothing else. "Brooke, is everything okay? Is it the baby?" Jake stood, concern flickering across his face. "The baby is fine." Her voice was calm, almost pleasant. She walked to his desk with measured steps and placed the envelope in front of him. "These are divorce papers. My attorney will be in touch regarding the details. I'm keeping the house. You're welcome to your condo downtown, the one on Ross Avenue you've been using on Thursday nights." The color drained from Jake's face. "What are you—" "I know about Lindsay, Jake. I've known for 3 weeks. I know about the Ritz-Carlton on anniversaries. I know about the trip to Austin you disguised as a conference. I know everything." She said it without raising her voice, without crying, without giving him the dramatic confrontation he might have been able to manipulate his way through. "Brooke, please, let me explain." He reached for her hand, but she stepped back smoothly. "There's nothing to explain. You made your choices, and I'm making mine." She turned toward the door, then paused. "Oh, and Jake? When the baby comes, you'll be notified. We'll arrange custody through our attorneys. But you and I, we're done talking. You can't just leave. Where will you go?" Desperation crept into his voice. Brooke allowed herself the smallest smile. "Somewhere you never bothered to look. Toward my future." She walked out, leaving Jake standing in his office. The divorce papers spread before him like a map of his failures. Through the glass walls, he could see colleagues glancing up, sensing the shift in his universe. By the time he thought to follow her, Brooke was already gone. Flying toward tomorrow. The private jet's leather seats embraced Brooke like a promise as she settled in for the flight to California. Through the window, Dallas became a patchwork of memories shrinking beneath clouds. She pressed her hand to her belly, where her daughter kicked with reassuring strength. Ms. Taylor, we'll be in the air shortly. Mr. Pierce has ensured every comfort for you and the baby. The flight attendant's kindness was genuine, not the practiced politeness Brooke had endured at Dallas charity functions. As they ascended, Brooke let herself remember Aspen. 13 months ago, she'd been designing the interior of a mountain estate, one of those projects that made her reputation sparkle. Logan Pierce had been the client, though she'd met him almost by accident when he'd appeared one afternoon, checking on construction progress. Unlike the tech billionaires she'd read about, Logan was quietly intense, dark eyes that actually listened, questions that revealed how carefully he paid attention. They talked about architecture, about creating spaces that felt like sanctuary. Over weeks of walkthroughs and design reviews, their conversations had deepened into something neither acknowledged but both felt. I built this fortune, Logan had told her one evening as they reviewed fabric samples, but I forgot to build a life. You understand the difference, don't you, between what looks successful and what actually matters? Brooke had understood completely. Even then, hairline cracks were forming in her marriage, though she'd refused to see them. When the Aspen project wrapped, Logan had said simply, "If you ever need anything, a friend, a place, a new beginning, call me." I mean that, Brooke. Now descending toward the California coast, Brooke saw Logan's property for the first time, a modernist masterpiece of glass and natural stone perched above the Pacific, exactly the kind of space that honored both solitude and possibility. Logan waited on the landing strip, hands in his pockets, his expression careful. As Brooke emerged from the plane, evening light painting everything gold, he stepped forward. "Thank you for this," she said quietly. "Thank you for trusting me." Logan's eyes went to her belly, then back to her face. "Whatever you need, however long you need it. No expectations, Brooke. Just safety." For the first time in weeks, Brooke felt her composure crack, not into tears but into relief. She was safe. Her daughter would be safe. And perhaps, just perhaps, something beautiful could grow from the ashes of betrayal. Part 4. What was lost? Jake Carter sat in the house that no longer felt like home, surrounded by evidence of Brooke's absence. The nursery door stood closed. He couldn't bear to look at it. His phone buzzed constantly with messages from Lindsay, but he'd stopped responding 3 days ago. Whatever he'd thought he wanted with her felt hollow now, a cheap thrill that had cost him everything real. His mother had called, her disappointment palpable even through the phone. "How could you, Jake? That girl has been nothing but good to you, and this is how you repay her? 8 months pregnant." His father had been blunter. "You're a damn fool. Brooke Taylor was the best thing that ever happened to this family, and you threw her away for what? Some fling with a child?" But it was his sister Emma's words that haunted him most. "She didn't scream at you or break down, did she? That's how you know you've lost her completely. Brooke only gets that calm when she's already moved on emotionally. You're not her husband anymore, Jake. You're just paperwork." He tried calling Brooke 17 times. Every call went to voicemail. He'd driven to the house, but the locks had been changed. Her attorney's responses were crisp and professional. Mrs. Carter was unavailable and would remain so. All communication would go through legal channels. Lindsay had shown up at his condo one evening, all apologies and promises. "We can be together now, can't we? Isn't this what you wanted?" Looking at her, Jake realized with sickening clarity that he'd never wanted her. He'd wanted the escape, the ego boost, the illusion of youth and excitement. He'd traded his wife, his child, his integrity for absolutely nothing of value. "You should go," he told Lindsay. "This was a mistake. All of it. But Jake, please, just go." Alone in the condo, Jake opened his laptop and did something he'd never thought to do during his marriage. He searched for Brooke online. Her design portfolio was stunning, her reputation impeccable. Articles praised her innovation, her eye for creating spaces that felt both luxurious and welcoming. Client testimonials spoke of her professionalism, her vision, her ability to truly listen. Then he found it, a photo from an Aspen design blog, 18 months old. Brooke standing beside a tall man with dark hair and intelligent eyes, both of them reviewing architectural plans. The caption read, "Interior designer Brooke Taylor collaborates with tech entrepreneur Logan Pierce on his Colorado estate project." The way they stood, not touching, but with a connection visible even in a photograph, made Jake's stomach turn. Not with jealousy, but with recognition. That was what Brooke deserved. Someone who saw her, truly saw her, the way he'd stopped doing years ago. He'd lost her, and he had no one to blame but himself. A new foundation. 3 weeks after arriving at Logan's coastal sanctuary, Brooke stood on the terrace watching the Pacific transform from silver to gold as dawn broke. Her hands cradled her belly, where her daughter's movements had become more insistent, as if she too was ready for their new beginning. "Couldn't sleep?" Logan's voice came from behind her, gentle and unhurried. He'd been unfailingly respectful, giving her space, asking nothing, simply being present when she needed company. "She's active this morning. I think she approves of the ocean view." Brooke smiled, feeling it reach her eyes for the first time in months. Logan stepped beside her, maintaining a careful distance. Over these weeks, they'd fallen into an easy rhythm. Breakfasts on the terrace, evenings discussing design projects Brooke was planning to resume after the baby came. Comfortable silences that felt more intimate than words. "I've been thinking," Logan said carefully, "about what comes next. For you, I mean. I don't want to presume anything, but I want you to know. You and your daughter, you're welcome here for as long as you want. Years, if that's what feels right. This place," he gestured to the stunning home around them. "It was always too empty. You've made it feel like what I was trying to build all along. A home, not just a house." Brooke turned to face him, seeing what she'd been afraid to acknowledge. This quiet, thoughtful man had become essential to her in ways that had nothing to do with escape or rebound. "Logan, I need to be honest with you about something." His expression grew cautious. "Okay. In Aspen, I felt something between us. I was married, so I never acknowledged it, but it was there. And these past weeks, being here with you..." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "I'm not ready for anything complicated. My heart is still healing, and I need to focus on becoming a mother. But I need you to know that what I feel when I'm with you, it's real, it's honest. And when I'm ready, if you're still, I'll be here." Logan's interruption was soft but certain. "Brooke, I've spent years building companies, making money, collecting achievements. But being with you these weeks, watching you prepare for your daughter, talking with you about everything and nothing, this is the first time I felt like I'm building something that actually matters. I'm not going anywhere." His hand moved tentatively toward hers, and Brooke took it, their fingers intertwining with a rightness that felt like coming home. 2 months later, on a clear California morning, Brooke gave birth to a healthy baby girl. Logan was in the waiting room, not overstepping but present. When Brooke held her daughter for the first time, this perfect, fierce little person who'd come through the storm with her, she knew with absolute certainty that she'd made the right choice. Jake received the notification through attorneys. A daughter, healthy, unnamed yet. He'd sent flowers and a card, but Brooke had donated the flowers to the hospital nursery and left the card unopened. 3 days after coming home, Brooke sat in the nursery Logan had quietly helped her prepare. Soft whites and natural wood, windows opening to endless sky and sea. Her daughter slept peacefully in her arms while Logan stood in the doorway, hesitant to intrude. "Come in," Brooke said softly. "Come meet Maya." As Logan approached, his expression full of wonder and careful tenderness, Brooke understood something profound. Love wasn't about first chances or perfect timing. It was about truth, respect, and building something real with someone who saw you completely and chose you anyway. Outside, the Pacific waves wrote their eternal poetry on the shore. Inside, a new family was beginning, not in the ruins of what was lost, but in the careful, honest space between two people who'd finally found each other. And Brooke Taylor, no longer Carter, smiled at her daughter and the man who'd offered them both sanctuary, knowing that the best chapters of her story were just beginning. The end.